Good morning, good morning, good morning, folks. Welcome to today's final front load and another episode of Spilling Tea. I'm your host, Tiffany Daniels, and we are going to that horrible world known as the JRC. Before we do the usual disclaimers, we are getting to the end of this particular article here. It's been an interesting journey, hasn't it? But we have gotten into surface level some of the very, very wrong things about ABA. So let's go ahead and close out this series, shall we? In the description box, folks, if you are unfamiliar with the Shocks campaign or the troubled teen industry, the campaign against it, you're going to find all the pertinent links in the description box. In particular, I want you to take note of the article written by NeuroClastic, which is a small non-for-profit started by autistics for autistics. In that article, they interviewed over 900 ABA professionals in regards to the Judge Rotenberg Educational Center's so-called behavior modification program. The Judge Rotenberg Educational Center felt so threatened by this particular article, they have threatened NeuroClastic with a defamation lawsuit if they did not remove it from the website. NeuroClastic has refused, folks. Please do read that article and share it on all your social media. You're going to also see in their NeuroClastic's public statement in regards to the defamation lawsuit threat, also a link to their GoFundMe. We are crowdfunding in case the JRC actually decides to see through with their threat. Trigger warning when we discuss places like the Judge Rotenberg Educational Center and Agape Boarding School for Boys. You're going to hear vivid descriptions of and catch clips or surveillance footage of people with mental health issues and disabled people being tortured and abused. If you got young children present, at the very least, please use your headphones. Another trigger warning, this channel is marked not for kids for a reason. We do use profanity on occasion and we do speak on dark subjects. So if your child is 16 and younger and they are watching this, very obviously parental supervision is advised, all right? Okay, so we're getting towards the end here. The broader field of behavioralism can and does improve quality of life and our daily experiences with the world. Behaviorism is a science, after all, and the laws of science have always been immoral. Morality arises from the scientist who chooses to bend the laws of nature to either Walden to or into torture techniques. I want you to pay particular attention because behaviorism, when it's used as it was intended to be used on the individuals for which it's actually built to help, can be a beautiful thing. I look to my uncle, I've spoken about him before, with schizophrenia as case point and example. When it is used incorrectly, like in the form of ABA, used and targeted specifically for us autistic folk, when it's used as it's not intended on individuals it should have never been used on in the first place. But you build at a very least amount, part of it is a whole lot of resentment. Resentment against self, resentment against the parents that exposed you to this type of treatment, resentment towards a neurotypical society that insists not only you have to go through this trauma, but then afterwards you are supposed to compound that trauma and swallow the price of it and your own fragile, scarred to hell mental health by continuing to act neurotypical and be something that you're not every day. Yeah, there's ramifications, isn't there, when things are done incorrectly? Particularly when they try to tell you how successful it is, because their measurement and mine don't resemble each other. because their idea of success is based off of what they as neurotypicals want to see. And that's it. They get the results they want. They don't care about the price. They don't care about the resentment that they're building or the fact that eventually it's going to boil over. And when it does boil over, folks, and especially the few times it is boiled over in a very public way, they never take accountability for it. Okay? When someone who's been through ABA ends up taking their own life, ABA will sit there and state that it is because they did not do this or that within the form of treatment, or maybe that they were taken out of ABA too soon as the cause, and not that the trauma that they caused, forcing us from very early ages to, at our core, hate who we are and how we were born as contributing factors. All right, let's continue to read. Watson's legacy as a racist, abusive man and the devastation he left in his wake is a testament to his desire for power and control. And, folks, that's what it is at the end of the day. The opinion of the neurodivergent community, especially the more vocal and active of us, has been for a long time that these individuals don't care if we are a success in our own eyes. They just want to be able to control us. The atypical mind is not the type of mind that is susceptible to control. Okay? That's what they're afraid of, because our minds don't operate like a neurotypical's. We cannot be influenced through peer pressure or any other type of pressure, as it were, into knee jerk reactions to things. We are very difficult to sway to one side or to the other. Our decisions, what we advocate for, what we voice opposition on, is based off of our own research outside of what these folks with vested interests would like to gear us to. Because of this, they fear us. They teach others to fear us. And so you have things that come in like ABA that is going to try and condition us to be more neurotypical and more susceptible to societal pressure and emotional pressure. Problem is, it doesn't work. What it does instead is build up a resentment towards this neurotypical world. Okay? It does spill out. In the words of Skinner, we are not yet ready to accept the fact that the task is to change not people, but rather the world in which they live. Okay? Kind of says it all, doesn't it? This world doesn't know how to handle individuals who do not react on an emotional knee jerk trigger. Individuals who can't be influenced in the same way that the larger masses are. They don't know what to do with us. So they build fear. So they try to condition us to be like the people around us. So they try to guilt us to play our role and just go along with it, even if we don't agree with it. Because in and of ourselves, us, especially autistic people, have our own sense of what is right and what is wrong. And at the end of the day, there's no amount of conditioning that can force us to not be that way, to react like our neurotypical peers react. goes against the very grain of who we are as a people, as individuals. Okay? They measure success in whether or not we are willing to go along with the flow, to tote the party lines, to participate in this world in a way that they approve of. Okay? They tried to teach us to create these masks, but in doing so, they want us, even if we don't agree with it, but in order to have acceptance, to go along with these knee jerk reactions. Well, I'm sorry. I can't do that, Dave, as an Odyssey 2021 states. Or 2001. I'm barely awake. And I never will be. Nor can people like me be conditioned to be that way. Let's finish up, shall we? There's a new generation of kids roaming the fields in Dartmouth behind the asylum that once held Putland and thousands of others. Maybe they still see the decaying brick as a monument to fear. Or maybe they see it as a reminder that some things are kept safely in the past. The only problem with this is it's not really true, is it? It hasn't been left in the past. What has happened is it has transformed its image. It's gone through the more traditional horror story level building asylums, and it's turned itself into brightly colored schools, hasn't it? Now we're going to go ahead and close. We don't get very many views on this channel. The few that we do tend to get removed from time to time. So, folks, please don't forget to hit the like button, hit subscribe, and don't forget to hit the comments. I do appreciate your time this morning. And as always, folks, we here at Spilling Tea hope you have a good one. We'll see you next time.